Welcome to the Digital Clinic, the show where we dig into what actually works in digital marketing for healthcare and medtech. The strategies, tools, and thinking that move the needle when the rules are tighter, the stakes are higher, and that's the way we've always done it is no longer a viable answer. The beauty of a marketer who started in sales is that if they were a good salesperson, becoming highly attuned to the needs of the customer is in their bones. It becomes a part of the fabric of who they are as a marketer, and it can make them very effective. Today's guest is Saul Marquez. Saul's the founder and CEO of Outcomes Rocket, a healthcare-exclusive market research, media, advisory, and marketing firm that helps MedTech and HealthTech companies accelerate growth. Saul spent years as a senior sales executive with the likes of Medtronic and Stryker, becoming highly attuned to the needs of the customer, the dynamics that influence sales processes, and getting a keen understanding for the marketing that truly delivers value. He now helps healthcare leaders turn strategy into measurable pipeline, revenue, and market credibility. As you'll hear, Saul is a bundle of energy, insight, and practical wisdom. I think you'll enjoy the conversation. Let's get to it. This podcast is sponsored by Wheelhouse Digital Marketing Group. Wheelhouse provides exceptional performance marketing for healthcare and medical device manufacturers. Every Wheelhouse client saw record performance in 2025, even after implementing HIPAA-compliant data solutions. Find out more at wheelhousedmg.com. Okay, Saul, I really enjoyed chatting with you at Device Talks. I love being a part of your podcast, and I'm intrigued by the origin story for Outcomes Rocket. I've heard it said that yours is a company that started from a podcast. So just tell me briefly that story.
Yeah, Aaron, thank you so much. I really enjoyed having you on our podcast at Device Talks. I've been in healthcare for 20 years. Legacy MedTech guy, sales and marketing. And as I was in MedTech, I always had a curiosity to learn more and not just be boxed in to medical devices. So I started this podcast roughly 9 years ago as a way for me to become a healthcare expert. That was sort of like the goal, right? Become a healthcare expert and meet people that are interesting and doing great things. So Outcomes Rocket was born. I never expected that fast forward to today, it would become a market research, strategy, and full service execution marketing agency. But what happened through over 2,000 interviews that I've done, I found that no matter what size the company, whether they were a startup or a multi-billion-dollar enterprise organization, there was always marketing gaps. And when you see the signal over and over, you say to yourself, I could do something here. So I was sales and marketing at one relationship at a time. I decided to do it at scale with the agency.
Yeah. Well, so prior to Outcomes Rocket, your focus really was heavily on the sales side, right? In MedTech. You mentioned that you saw this pattern, or you heard this pattern of, the same marketing gaps over and over. What are the gaps that you identified, and how have you gone about filling those gaps with what you do at Outcomes Rocket?
Yeah, that's a really great call out. And those gaps are different. So we as an agency serve two segments. We serve health tech. Those are software solutions in health care. And we serve med tech. That's medical devices. The one common denominator problem across all of these is that oftentimes, as good intentions as you and the team might have, teams go straight into execution. And you go straight into execution, you're very limited in the number of people that you have to do what needs to get done adequately. It doesn't matter how big you are. The problem's still there. And in the end, you're chasing your tail, trying to justify the investments you've made and trying to pin down the data that tells you it's worked out for the best. And this is a common problem across all three segments that we serve. Marketing people, especially now with AI, it's gotten even worse. Leadership teams want you to do more with less, and you don't have enough people to support you, and that's a very common problem overall.
Yeah. All right, so you said these marketing teams go immediately to execution. What is it that you're doing that enables them to pause, be more thoughtful, more deliberate, and more focused about, and I guess more choosy about what they actually do?
Yeah. You know what? There's a stat that I love. It came out of McKinsey. They essentially did a study on MedTech companies in the space, and essentially only 28% of MedTech companies actually have a documented marketing strategy. And that's eye-opening. What happens is when you're forced by the business to get result, you get straight into action. It's what we call the marketing treadmill. One of the quotes that I often share with people, this is a quote that we share internally at our organization and with customers, is that tactics are the noise you hear before the war is lost. That's Sun Tzu in The Art of War. Man, I'll tell you what, and you probably see this all the time, Aaron. You want results, so you get straight to action before actually really questioning your assumptions. And so the process we use is called 3D. It's discover, define, deliver. We believe it's a non-negotiable to do the discover phase. Sometimes you might feel that you don't have the time, but that's why we have a version of the discover phase called the discover sprint that you can actually do in one week. And the discover sprint essentially forces you to, if you do already have some of these things documented, who are your competitors? What is the lay of the land? What is the market opportunity, your TAM and your SAM? Who are the top competitors in the space? Who owns the digital footprint? All these things, if you don't have them laid out, they should be laid out. If you do have them laid out, then the opportunity is in questioning some of the assumptions. With some quick VOC, you get that voice of customer from your customers on the sprint, right? Because the sprint, you don't have much time. If you're going to do it in a week to 2 weeks, you could do it very quickly. The cool thing about it is that while we're doing it, we could also get you some customer testimonials along the way. We don't just get you feedback, but we actually get you digital assets that you could leverage for, conversion optimization on your website, et cetera. So this becomes a really cool way to get things done while you're validating. So that discover piece is really key. Then you go into define, and then you go into deliver. Deliver is where a lot of people tend to start, but making sure you get those first 2 Ds done is critical for success.
It is a surprise to me that if I understand you correctly, what you said, only 28% of MedTech companies have a defined and documented marketing strategy. All right, so 72% of MedTech companies then go straight from, we've got a device, we're commercializing it, let's create the sales collateral and go out and talk to people. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. And so when this happens, you have an opportunity, right? Essentially, you're only competing with 28% of the market at this point.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so I understand the research phases, discovering and defining, and then do you also help with campaign execution and the like in the delivery phase?
Yes, I spent many years at different device companies, and one of the things that we would run into, and I've had the opportunity to work alongside marketing on some of these research campaigns. You get this really amazing deck with all these insights, and then they say, good luck, go do it, and when you need more research, let us know. And inevitably at a company, especially a large company, you run into the quarterly fire drills of what happens at a publicly traded company, right? You gotta hit the numbers, you gotta make it happen, and that fire drill becomes the priority. And oftentimes, what's in that deck gets dusty and it doesn't happen. So we realized that there's an opportunity to close that gap, and so what we do, one of our differentiators, is we'll do the research, we'll get the strategy, but then we bolt on a 90-day execution sprint. And that 90-day execution sprint is what allows you to take those insights and put them into action. And that's where our execution arm comes into play, and we help you get it done, whether it be content creation, live conference activation, digital campaigns like webinars, whatever it might be, we help you make it happen. So when those fires come up, you have us as your team by your side, rolling up our sleeves to make sure that the investment you made in the research actually sees the light of day. And that's a huge differentiator for us and what we're able to help our clients with.
Yeah, I can believe that. All right, let's go back to the podcast, because you've interviewed more than 2,000 guests, which is admirable. That's incredible. I aspire to get there one day.
Or crazy.
So across those, what's that?
Or crazy.
No, it's great. I mean, particularly, you're good at it, you're engaging, and so I would imagine it's a lot of fun and interesting. You get to have a lot of interesting conversations.
I enjoy it.
As you reflect on those 2,000 guests, or even just the last 100 or 200, what patterns emerge? What things are people missing where you think again and again, wow, people just aren't seeing this thing that I see, because I can pattern match across all of these interviews and conversations?
Yeah. Wow. Very recently, with AI, we've actually grabbed all 2,300 plus of our episodes, and we've plugged them into a Claude project. And so that has become quite the repository for insights that we could pull for whether it be clients or conversations or content. But I will share with you that one of the things that has consistently come about is this. The leaders that come to the podcast and can, within 5 minutes, clearly articulate what they do, why they do it, how it's different, and create urgency to take action. Those are the teams that I have seen are the companies that do the best.
Sure.
In the market. I have seen them over the past 8 years get acquired, accelerate ahead of competitors. And, it comes down to how clear are you on what you do, why you do it, and your differentiators? Boy, and I have seen this time after time. That is the differentiator. Can your leaders articulate the vision? And then can the leaders then have the team share that vision? And then are you doing it across all channels to create trust that helps you accelerate?
Intuitively, I would think, well, that must be table stakes to be a marketing leader or some sort of executive. I suspect that you will tell me that's not the case. So hazard a guess as to, on a percentage basis, how often do you encounter someone who can be clear, concise, and create urgency in the way that you describe?
Man, there's a lot of talented people. We get to and with amazing stories, and we get to interview a lot of them. But I will say that if I had to put a number on it, I could probably go query my project right now. I would tell you it's probably like 50%. And if I were to create like percentage levels, there's probably like a solid 10% that just crush it.
Sure.
And and Aaron, this, man, and everybody with us, this, that like when you talk to somebody that crystallizes it for you, it inspires you.
Absolutely. It's an infectious talent.
It is. It leaves you with like, wow, tell me more, because the problem's clear and you clearly understand how you're different. Tell me how you're making this all work. It just inspires you to want to know more. Clarity has a gravitational pull to it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's the one thing that shines out of all the conversations. I've seen it work in the market.
I think that's true. I think clarity certainly is compelling and infectious. I think from my perspective, even more infectious is an authentic sense of mission, the reason why you're doing something.
The why.
If you can combine those two things, then you've really got something. All right, so that's one thing that has been notable. What are some other things? Maybe what's something that you've heard from folks where you think there is this prevailing wisdom that people are getting wrong? And I can reflect on the last couple of hundred interviews, and I see this pattern of false assumptions. You mentioned challenging assumptions as a part of your initial discovery process.
Clearance or regulatory approval doesn't get you sold.
Right.
I will tell you that is one of the biggest things that stands out. You get approved, that doesn't mean anything. It means you could sell now. And what you have to do is really think through your user's journey. You have to map out exactly how they do their procedure, or how they care for a patient, or if it's a technical workflow, like what the technical workflow consists of. Because once you're cleared, that just means you have a license to hunt. Mm-hmm. And so now you have to make sure that you're truly resolving a need, because you have to create that solution that's going to make a customer want to change their workflow, potentially take a risk to change what they're doing, which could be very costly. So you have to build that commercial model. And Aaron, not like the best products don't always succeed.
Tell me more, because I have read, as I was doing research, I've read other comments from you to that effect. It's not the best product. It's something else that enables success. So what is the secret ingredient?
I have been on the winning side, and I've also been on the losing side of big deals. We have, back in my device days, have lost deals knowing we were the best product, but we lost a deal because our competitor came in more prepared with a better commercial story.
Yeah.
So like, I remember having lost a $3 million deal that I was counting on to make the number for the quarter.
Yeah.
And I remember reflecting on our after action report. What happened? They came in with a better commercial story. The way that they connected the friction points and relieved kind of the friction points of the clinicians and the IT department in this particular situation.
Yeah.
After this happened to me, Aaron, I woke up to the rude reality is that best doesn't always win. And you really have to sharpen your pencil to think about your commercial plan and your commercial story, and that all the stakeholders in the room that have to say yes, you're getting ahead of the game. You're anticipating the snipers. So we call them snipers. I actually recently did an article, a newsletter on this, is that you don't have a pipeline problem, you have a buyer map problem.
I just read that. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Okay,
yeah.
Cool, man. Thanks for reading that.
Yeah.
What'd you think? I mean, am I off? Is it resonating?
No, it resonated a lot. Yeah. In fact, it aligns with another conversation I had on a similar topic yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? What was it?
Yeah. Just the complexity of the buying committee, a failure to identify all of the different constituents who are actually involved, those that are self-evident, those that are you think are secondary but turn out to be completely influential.
And you work so hard to get to a certain point. So make sure your plan is commercially viable.
I think I know the answer, but I'd like to hear from you. There are lots of folks who do what you do, serve the same sort of market. But I would assume that they come to their current business, their current service offering from the commercialization side or from the marketing side.
Yeah.
You came up on the sales side. In what way does your sales experience give you an advantage and a different perspective?
We did this report on the state of go-to-market in 2026. And that report, happy to share the link with you, revealed a lot of the friction that exists between healthcare sales and marketing teams. There was this moment in time when I got involved in a marketing project. And I became super close with our marketing team when I had this aha moment. I used to be the sales guy that thought sales was the best.
Sure.
You know, and that we did everything and that we signed the deals.
These leads are no good. And yeah, right. Yeah.
I was that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and then I had this epiphany when I got on this project about halfway into my career, and I said, wow, marketing does so much. I had this realization that actually marketing is more important than sales. because it's the foundation, it's the positioning, it's the differentiation. They're both important, but ultimately that was a realization that I had, this appreciation for marketing. So now fast forward to, we run a marketing agency.
Yeah.
I wear the lens of a salesperson, so I understand the pressure that our customers are faced with from their sales counterparts. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we're able to bring to the table is quick wins, because sales wants quick wins. So we always find a way to get quick wins. But also the thing that's more durable is setting up our clients for success when it comes to how you handle conversations with sales. Mm-hmm. And how you position what marketing is doing to a sales leader. That's half the battle, right? And so we'll have very candid conversations and make sure that everything we're putting together, from the deck to the analytics report, and making sure that, hey, what did the sales leader think about this? Can we get on the call with them? Like, let's align. Let's pull from what they're thinking about, because they probably have faced some harsh realities that haven't gotten to our desk yet.
Sure.
So opening up the channel of communication, that empathy, walking a mile in the shoes, is really, I think, a difference maker that has helped us.
Yeah.
Because of that sales experience.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Another thing that marketers have been perennially challenged with, no more so than right now, is proving the contribution of marketing to revenue. That's an issue that's endemic across most industries. It's particularly challenging in healthcare and depending upon your climate and your company, in medical device as well. I know that's a focus for you. How do you create an environment that allows demonstrable contribution to revenue to be demonstrated for marketing?
Yeah, at the end of the day, you are responsible for traceability. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I think we've all learned in marketing is that there's no one touch that does the job.
Right.
It's a multi-touch, omni-channel opportunity. And so what you could do to best document it across the board is important. I think this is where your tech stack matters a lot. There's things that you could subscribe to. There's things that you can create internally. Like Aaron, I know you guys have done a nice job of creating a proprietary kind of system for this type of work, right?
Yep. Yeah, we've created a HIPAA-compliant measurement framework for our clients.
So to be honest, we haven't built that. I'd be more curious from you, would love to learn more from you on this topic. I feel like you're my senior on this.
Well, from a certain perspective, certainly from the digital side, in broad strokes, philosophically, what we do is create a measurement framework that is privacy compliant, that rather than optimizing and instrumenting for the conventional moment of conversion, which is we generated a lead, we got someone to submit a form, we integrate much more deeply with our client systems, in particular with CRM, and we identify deeper and deeper points of value creation in the conversion cycle, so that ultimately we're optimizing for the moment that a prospect becomes first a paying patient or customer or user, and then ultimately as we mature with our clients, we're optimizing to maximize lifetime value. And we've created a measurement system and some technology that allows us to then provide a real-time signal back to digital advertising platforms based on a real-time propensity model that we develop that is based on the lifetime value of a customer. And so we get awesome. These cycles with compounding returns that just get better and better.
That's great. So essentially taking a look across the life cycle, pulling data from your own systems, and then piping them into, is this kind of like a custom made intent platform also?
We certainly focus on prospect intent, but really the constituent parts are a HIPAA-compliant data collection system, a HIPAA-compliant data warehouse that we use, and then a form of propensity modeling that we develop that is real-time
rather than a moment in time used for audience definition.
Got it. I love that.
But
man.
it really starts with something that you mentioned early on, which is you have to challenge your assumptions and not think of things conventionally. The conventional way to go about digital marketing and digital advertising is to use the conventional forms of conversion. I got a lead. I got someone to sign up for this. I got someone to schedule an appointment. When really, if you challenge that as the assumption of having done something of value, the moment of value is much deeper in a system that digital marketers usually don't have access to. And so it's earning access to those systems and then being able to leverage that data in a way that provides a real-time signal back to the platforms.
That's really neat. And going back to your question, build, partner, buy, and like partner with an organization like you guys, get a tech stack like Marketo or Eloqua or one of these to help you, or Bombora for intent. There's so many out there. To ultimately make it work.
So as you think about where the market's headed, think forward, the next 12 to 18 months, what's in the offing for healthcare and medtech marketers? What should they be anticipating, thinking about, protecting against?
Yeah, health tech and medtech are converging. So it's very interesting, and the rate of acceleration is insane. Software as a medical device as a category is growing exponentially. And so what you're seeing is a convergence of both of these markets. MedTech is used to operating in a highly regulated environment, moving a bit slower. Health tech is used to going fast and breaking things. They don't need the FDA approvals. However, what's happening with the advent of vibe coding and all of these risks and cyber attacks that are happening because of code-based errors and issues, you're seeing an increased level of regulation happening on some of the software, especially in the healthcare space, that's requiring these software companies to work within more of the guardrails that they're not used to, which MedTech is used to. At the same time, you're having, at Device Talks, I was having conversations with some of the innovators in the 3D printing space and having a chat with some of the robotics folks, telling me how much faster things are innovating. You could set up prototypes within a matter of days or a week, whereas before it was months.
Yeah.
So they're moving a lot faster. And a lot of these physical devices are becoming digitized. Rather than having bedside monitors, you've got algorithms. And so these two fields are converging. And what I would say to our listeners is, right now is the opportunity for you to look across the aisle and learn from your peers, because there's innovative things that they're doing that you're not, that can help you accelerate your growth. So I would say the field is changing rapidly. Look outside, and literally not even across the aisle, to your health tech peers or your med tech peers, because there's things that are working for them right now that you're not doing that you could take advantage of.
Yeah, that maybe you thought weren't relevant to you, but are becoming quite relevant as the industry changes around you. Yeah, that's great. That's very well said. Yeah. I've really enjoyed talking with you. I've appreciated the conversation. Is there anything I've not asked you that you would love to chat about?
We release 2 insights reports every quarter, so I would invite the listeners and viewers to check out some of our research. It'll support the work that you're doing and help you bolster the discover side of your marketing.
That's great. And where can they find more information about you, about Outcomes Rocket, and about those research reports?
OutcomesRocket.com is the place to go.
All right. Very good. Thanks again, Saul. I really enjoyed it.
Appreciate your time, Aaron. Thanks, everyone.
You too.
What Saul has learned through thousands of conversations in this industry is the companies that succeed aren't necessarily those with the best product or even the deepest pockets. They're the ones who invested in strategy before execution. And only a quarter of medtech companies have a documented marketing strategy. The other thing Saul consistently sees in the leaders whose companies outperform is clarity. The ability to walk into any room and in just a few minutes explain what you do, why it matters, and why someone should act now. That combination, strategic foundation, plus the language to bring others along, is what the best teams have in common. You'll find Saul Marquez on LinkedIn and at outcomesrocket.com. I'm Aaron Burnett, and I'll see you next time on the Digital Clinic.